A very good afternoon to you, Mkoma Comrade Treasure, I should say, Treasure Basop. What I'm going to say is we are waiting for one more guest to join us. But as for now, I'm going to leave you to continue and greet the viewers and listeners on your program today. I'll be at the background, but obviously you're now on screen live and we're waiting for the other guest.
Thank you, Fuka. Thanks so much for being the man behind the technical architecture of this tete-a-tete. We are still waiting for Comrade Brother Mr. Mlambo, who is going to join us shortly.
Revolutionary salutations to the people of Zimbabwe. Comradely salutations to the suffering masses of our people. Comrades, as I indicated earlier on, that Brother Basobo and I will be going live at exactly 1700 hours Zimbabwean time to cross-pollinate ideas, to discuss the state of the state in the context of COVID-19, to discuss, among other things, the role of the state in disaster management, to discuss, among other things, comrades, the level and extent to which the Zimbabwean government has dealt with the coronavirus, the effect of the lockdown on the informal economy, the effect of the lockdown on the small to medium enterprises. So we are waiting for Comrade Treasure Basopo in revolutionary Oslo, Norway, to join so that we can start this program in earnest. I greet the viewers who have joined us. I greet you all in the name of active solidarity, comrades. Revolutionary salutations. Thank you so much for joining me and for joining us as we wait for Comrade Basopo, whom I believe is having some challenges technologically, but I guess these will be rectified in the fullness of time. So I greet all the comrades.
Comrade Basopo is on now. So go ahead. You're both on live and direct. We can hear you clearly. Go ahead, gentlemen.
Fantastic, Vuka. Thanks, Comrade Vuka. Thank you so much for being the technological expert. Comrade Basopo, yes. Comrades. Greetings, comrades. I'm waiting to see Comrade Basopo. Yet to see him. Brother Basopo. Yes.
Brother.
Yes. Brother Basopo, revolutionary greetings.
Revolutionary salutations to you, Comrade Brother and Mr. Mlambo, and revolutionary greetings to all those who are listening to this revolutionary show.
Yes. Brother Basopo, apparently it seems as if we lost Brother Basopo again. We'll try and establish another connection with Brother Basopo. But comrades, stay tuned, stay online. We'll rectify this soon. We are sorry for the inconveniences. We know that quite enough already some comrades are coming to the inbox. Comrade Basopo, are you facing challenges technologically?
The technology seems not to be on my side, just like how events have been to the people of Zimbabwe with regards to the coronavirus.
But we are glad that you are now online. Revolutionary salutations, Comrade Basopo. Revolutionary salutations to the people of Zimbabwe. Revolutionary salutations to our technological expert, Comrade Vuka, Zimbabwe. Thank you very much. Comrades, we greet you in the name of active solidarity. Those of you who are viewing us live on Facebook. This is your brother, Comrade Brother Mlambo, a revolutionary intellectual. I'm joined by none other than Comrade Treasure Basopo, aka Comrade Majimaji, live and direct from Oslo, Norway. He's in Scandinavia. Comrades, today, as per our tradition, we salute the men and women who are toiling each and every day to make Zimbabwe and the world a better place. But comrades, today we are coming on this tete-a-tete live on Facebook, a first of its kind. We are going to discuss issues to do with the state of affairs in the motherland called Zimbabwe. How are we prepared as a country as we respond to coronavirus? Brother Basopo, we exchange notes to cross-pollinate ideas and tell us how the Norwegian government has responded or dealt with this crisis. So, Brother Basopo, salute and greet the people of Zimbabwe in the best way forward.
Yes, like I said before, thank you very much, Zimbabwe. Revolutionary greetings to the people of Africa in general and Zimbabwe in particular. My name is Comrade Treasure Basopo, as you already know. We have been doing so many shows like this where we would share and cross-pollinate ideas. And the good thing about the technology is that all of us, we can now participate from all the angles or the four corners of the world, wherever we are. We are allowed to put on your comments, ask questions, make contributions, and of course, alterations. All of us, no one is perfect. No one is an embodiment of wisdom alone. No one is a monopoly of wisdom. So, comrades, today we are talking about the coronavirus and the Supreme Court judgment, which has been recently passed in Zimbabwe during the midst of this coronavirus pandemic by the not so popular ZANU-PF government. Let me go straight into the coronavirus, brother Ngobis Tamlambo. Like most of our viewers already know what the coronavirus is. It is a virus which was recently discovered, or which recently began to hit the world in late December, coming from a Chinese city called Wuhan. And it has been having devastating effects in China before it began to spread like a wildfire in the whole of the world. This is a disease which is like flu, which gets into people and spread quickly, but it simply spreads into people through droplets from people's nose or from people's mouths, and can easily be avoided in terms of contamination through having good etiquette by just closing your mouth so that the next person won't be having the droplets. It's just like another flu. And comrades and friends, ladies and gentlemen, coronavirus has been declared by World Health Organization as a pandemic, which means to say that serious measures and precautions have to be taken by each and every country, which has led to a global wide shutdown in terms of business and different government operations. So, Brother Mlambo, the Norwegian government, just like the rest of the world, what they've done, number one, is to make sure that the people's safety nets, they have been enacted and erected. That means to say that the safety nets, including the salaries of the people, the salaries of the pensioners, and the people, of course, they've stopped going to work, to the jobs, but the government has intervened by saying that they would pay 80% of the salaries that the people have been having on average for the past 3 years, up to a maximum of 600 Norwegian krona per month, which is a lot of money, more than 50,000 US dollars. We have also seen the Norwegian central bank intervening, coming in. The central bank, which is the Norges Bank, just like the Zimbabwe central bank, which we call the RBZ, which of course is being run by the not so popular Mangujga, and of course this cousin Mthuli Ncube. Here they've introduced a raft of measures. Number one, what they've done as a country, of course, with an economic base, is to enact stabilization measures as tax reliefs and deferred payments. The Norges Bank also lowered interest rates by 0.5% as of March 13, which is last month, after a day when the Norwegian government shut down. Also, they lowered the counter-cyclical capital buffers from 2.5% to 1%. That means to say that companies that are in a liquidity crisis, they can now access more money easily and more money than before, as a way of trying to stimulate the economy, which is of course most likely going to lead into a recession, because the Norwegian government, just like other governments like Nigeria, these are net oil exporters. Much of their income comes from oil, primarily to fund their GDP and to fund their daily operations, their budget. 80%, like I told, of what they've done, they've also encountered into kindergartens, they've been closed. More money is going to be given to parents who are staying at home, but of course the responsibility to take over children who were once being looked after by kindergartens, because these have been shut down. So more money is now being given to those people. So many things have happened. Students, they have also been taken as part of the safety nets, and even other people are advocating that the rentals for students, those who are low income earners without a fixed income, they must be scraped off, or at least come up with a good measure in terms of how these rentals can be put into perspective to assist the poor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade Basopo, for expurgating on how the Norwegian government has responded in terms of its social policy with regards to safety nets, i.e. in the context of COVID-19. Brother Basopo, you are a Zimbabwean. You being in Norway does not take away your being Zimbabwean. I will tell you what the Zimbabwean government thus far has done. The Zimbabwean government, Brother Basopo, as you are all aware, announced a national lockdown for the next 21 days. However, this was a move that was welcomed by many in the country, but with mixed feelings. So the fear that most Zimbabweans have is, okay, we have locked down the country. However, in as much as we have locked down the country, what is going to happen to the 95% who are in the informal economy? Thanks for rejoining, Brother Basov. I'm trying to talk about to elaborate, Brother Basopo, to
Thank
go
you.
to town on the responses of the Zimbabwean government with regards to the COVID-19. So we have a national lockdown, Brother Basopo, a 21-day national lockdown declared last week by the head of state and government, who is also the commander-in-chief of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, President Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa.
And the Chancellor of all state universities.
Of all state universities, the patron of Zimbabwe cricket, the patron of Zimbabwe karate, the leader of this country. So, Brother Basopo,
the first secretary of Zimbabwe
of ZANU-PF, yes. One of the greatest questions that the people of Zimbabwe are asking is, yes, we are afraid of coronavirus. Yes, we are prepared to stay home as a mitigatory measure to stop the spread of coronavirus. We are all aware, Brother Basopo, that Brother Zororo Makamba, a guy who used to do videos like us, passed on to glory after succumbing to the ravages of COVID-19. So the government, after that death, then said, okay, we now need to enforce social distancing, i.e., through a national lockdown. However, Brother Basopo, unlike in Norway, where the government had a planned and a very clear national lockdown strategy in terms of the economy, because we all know that COVID-19 has naturally and inevitably had tremendous, if not tectonic, effects on economic organization and production. People are not earning, so people cannot spend. So aggregate demand, in short, has been affected. But remember, Brother Basop, that Zimbabwe is a highly informalized economy. The International Labour Organization, in its latest labor force survey, argues that in every 5 Zimbabweans, 1 is formally employed, which means that in every 5 Zimbabweans, 4 are informally employed. So a national lockdown should be understood within the context, the material, political, economic context of Zimbabwe. And it is now paramount upon or incumbent upon the government to introduce social policy safety nets that can cushion the poor. What have they done so far? So as a way of starting, the RBZ chief, Dr. John Paspanonetsa Mangudya, announced through statutory instrument number 8 that the multi-currency system, effectively the US dollar, has been brought back into operation, operating alongside the defunct Zimbabwean dollar. Notwithstanding the fact that they have not yet repealed Section 142, statutory instrument 142 of 2019, which banned the US dollar. But that as it may, Brother Basopo, as we say, as the revolutionary intellectuals, we welcome the government's move at least to say that the United States dollar through SI 80 should operate alongside the local currency. Number 2, Mutuli Ncube, the Minister of Finance and Economic Development, the Nati professor from Cambridge, announced a $200 million stimulus package to cushion the poor, in what he is calling a stimulus package to cushion the poor against the ravages of coronavirus, i.e. the economic impact on the livelihoods of the poor. So Mutuli Ncube is saying the 200 million Zimbabwean dollars, or RTGs, whatever you want to call it, bond note, is going to benefit or to target 1 million households. So, Brother Basopo, I'm not that good at mathematics, but I know that you are very good mathematical. You would easily calculate that 200 million vis-a-vis 1 million people, it would mean $200, Zimbabwean dollars per household. Those 1 million households. So it will mean 200. And what would one do, Brother Basopo, in a highly inflationary environment with 200 RTGs? It means they'll only buy bread for the next 2 or 3, 4, 5, 6 days. Bread, 2 kgs of sugar, 2 kg, a packet of potatoes, 2 kgs of rice, 2 liters of cooking oil. That's it. And you can't sustain an average family. An average Zimbabwean family is 5 people. You can't sustain a family of 5 with a 2 kgs of rice. It's not possible. So, in as much as we welcome the government's decision, Brother Basopo, I see you are now offline, but I'll continue since the viewers are listening. In as much as we welcome the government's decision to pump in $200 million to help 1 million households, we do appreciate, but we say this is not enough. Our argument, Brother Basopo, as social and economic justice activists, will always remain the same. People might be asking that, Brother Mlambo, you're saying that 200 million is little. Where do you want the government to get the money? But I would also argue, as a tax justice advocate, that we have been paying tax in this country since time immemorial. Actually, in the year of our Lord Jesus Christ, 2018, when Mutuli Ncube, 2017 actually, or not 2018 or 2017, if I'm not mistaken, when Mutuli Ncube assumed the role as the Minister of Finance responsible for the national pace, he introduced the unpopular and infamous 2% tax. So we're all aware that in every transaction we do, 2% tax, the 2% tax is being taken. Number 2, Mutuli Ncube has been on record for the past 1.5 years saying that on record that Zimbabwe is registering budget surpluses. So in short, it means that Mutuli Ngube, what you are trying to tell us that this government is man. So our expectation, Brother Basopo, is that from the budget surpluses, from the 2% tax that he said was ring fence, now is the time, in the interest of tax justice, for Section 298 of the Constitution says the burden of taxation must be shared fairly, and taxes, revenue collected from taxes must be done for the material and the national development of Zimbabwe. This is a health issue. We have a constitution that talks about the right to life. We have a constitution that talks about the right to food. We have a constitution a progressive constitution that talks about the right to healthcare as codified in Section 76. Now is the time to use the revenue collected from the 2% tax, revenue collected from the budget surpluses, to number one, buy a COVID-19 testing kit so that they do test door-to-door COVID-19 coronavirus test. Number two, to build in the immediate term makeshift hospitals, transform Nare City Sports Center, transform Sakuba Stadium, transform Mkoba Stadium, transform a large city in Blawayo, transform town halls in cities and towns and growth points into emergency evacuation centers for people who will be tested positive to coronavirus. Number three, Brother Basopo, the issue is also we have mining corporations. I would argue you and I come from Manicaland, Brother Basopo. We all know that we come from a province called Manicaland where there's diamond. There's also gold, Brother Basopo, you are aware. That
Yes.
Red Mine has been mining gold in a place called Penalonga, 10 to 15 kilometers out of Mutare city center. Since 1898, the Red Mine has been mining gold since 1898, but the people of Chingwe in Penalonga have got nothing to show for it. It's high time that the mining royalties taken from Red Mine, that British registered company called Metal and Gold on the London Stock Exchange, it's high time that they give the proceeds to Mutare General Hospital, to Mutare Infectious Disease Hospital, so that there's a state of preparedness as we respond to COVID-19. Number four, Brother Basopo. Sorry,
Yes.
brother, I'll end in a while, Brother Basopo.
Yes.
My intellectual rigor. And actually, you have provoked me, Brother Basopo, to go to town, Brother Basopo. Thank you very much, viewers, for joining us. Salutations. Brother Basopo, the President of the Republic, Mr. Emerson Mnangagwa, has argued and pledged to the entire world that this country needs 2.2 billion in assistance. 2.2 billion United States dollars to combat COVID-19. That's a progressive move, but however, in a time where the entire world is battling with COVID-19, we are not sure whether there are countries willing to borrow Zimbabwe, especially in the context of our bad history as bad debtors. So what we need to do is to do what we call domestic resource mobilization. You are a student of economics, Brother Basopo.
Yes.
GRIM is critical at this juncture. We mobilize our monies through taxation. We tax the rich in this country. Who are the rich? The Bill Rattenbergs, the Sakundas of this world, the monopolies, Econet, Net1, the monopolies in this country who are earning lots of money should pay more to combat COVID, especially to buy kits for testing. We need at least 10 to 15,000 kits so that people can be tested. The corona house to house test, Brother Basop, so that we are clear on the numbers. We are clear on who is affected and who is not affected. And in the long term, we need good healthcare infrastructure, Brother Basopo. I was at Parenyatwa recently. I had a slight headache. The situation there is terrible, Brother Basopo. They did not attend to me, arguing that I'm not fully covered health-wise. There are no medicines there. So I had to come back home, drink lots of water. Glory be to the Lord Jesus Christ who healeth all diseases. I am now free, hence we are able to do this live video. But there's a terrible health crisis. Also, Brother Basopo, the president and the minister of health, they said that they've given civil servants, i.e. medical personnel who will be at the front line to combat COVID-19, a risk allowance of RTGS 1,500. We argue, as the Zimbabwe Healthcare Doctors Association would argue, that's portable, that's equivalent with today's rate to something like 33 United States dollars. It doesn't suffice to a person who is risking their lives. Also, the issue of protective clothing, Brother Basopo, for our healthcare personnel who are handling COVID-19 cases at Wilkins, different healthcare centers. So that's the situation in the motherland. We also have statutory instruments on public health. I think it's statutory instrument 77 on public health that the government has enacted as a response. But the response has been slow. We are also witnessing the thrashing and crushing of informal sector traders. Yesterday, they banned vegetables in Mutare in a place called Sakuba Supermarket. I know you and I know Sakuba. That's where a majority of people end their livelihoods. The president was on record that we should eat vegetables for us to stay healthy. and the president has been doing press conferences saying that the security forces should not thwart the activities of informal or farmers. It's ironic that the security forces did not decide to listen to their commander-in-chief. It's a worrying sign that livelihoods are under threat, and if care is not taken, there might be chaos in this country, because it is not sustainable for a vendor, Brother Basopo, to be at home for the next 21 days.
Thank you, Brother Ngobisa Mlambo. I think you have you've talked about a lot of issues. It shows that you are burning, not with so much, but you are burning with anger, because we need total transformation in the country. But I think there is also need for policy clarity, a thoughtfulness, and consistency on the part of the government of Mr. Emerson Mnangagwa, and inspire confidence within the rest of our people. I think, as you are aware, number one, yesterday, not today, they said that we've banned total sales of alcohol in the country. The next thing that they said was to reverse that thing at 24 hours. That's just one example of policy inconsistencies. Number two, last week, I was on Zimbabwe Broadcasting Corporation, the sole producer of a news to the people of the country, as much as television is concerned, showing its monopoly. They asked, what do you think is the solution when it comes to information dissemination in the country? Do you have confidence in us, you guys from the diaspora? And it is very clear that these guys, they are not sincere, number one. They are not truthful. They are not trustworthy. They have been emasculating source of information and tailor-making information to meet their and suit their demands and the requirements of the government. And our demand, what inspires confidence in moments like this, Mr. Mnangagwa and government, and all those who are within the hierarchy of the government and non-government organization, is to make sure that the citizens, they have proper, true information. You need to be honest enough so that people cannot begin to doubt your sources of information. Brother Lambo, you were asking how things also happen here. I said that here there is a national real-time website where you can go the number of the people who have been tested, the number of the people who have died, the number of people who are, every information is there. Right now, I can send anyone a link and look at that information. And this is something that does not need a 2 billion budget to be put into the people to inspire confidence in those who are holding this system together. So we need information dissemination. We also would like to thank the opposition movement for joining in the call to combat COVID-19, as has been shown by the hierarchy, the topmost person in the opposition of the country, who happens to be Nelson Chamisa from the Movement for Democratic Change. We would like to applaud that president for doing and taking such a wonderful and patriotic move. But it must also be incumbent upon the government to bring in all the people, as we have seen South Africa, where opposition movement, they are brought in, everyone is brought in. No way by begin to erect judgments so that you can be able to push, emasculate, marginalize, and put aside the opposition movement by taking advantage of a pandemic which is affecting and ravaging the whole world. Brother, let it be known that what leads the country, number one, is confidence and driving together. We need shared national vision, shared economic goals, and by all the people. So everyone must be pulling together, not pulling aside, as been happening in Zimbabwe. I think this must bring us to the issue of and in fact, before we proceed there, I think it's also important just to put the coronavirus into perspective of the whole globe. I think you are aware that the China government is the one which has been hit most, as I said, because they have been having the virus before. There have been serious shifts in the stock market, as you are aware that changes in the stock price and the changes, all these changes in the confidence which is being brought because companies do not want to lose their monies in shares. It's actually brought so much disequilibrium and lack of stability within the stock market, which has affected the individual savings account of the people and pension funds of most countries, because most countries, they invest their monies in the stock exchange. Yes. There's been massive joblessness, which is 6 million people in the United States alone have filed claims that they need government assistance because they have been retrenched or something like that. In fact, also you should know that the airlines industry is one of the most promising industries and one of the most illustrious industries in most countries. Look at countries like Ethiopia; they one of their biggest state parastatals, which is 150 planes. Yes, in Ethiopia. He has been affected by this. In the United States alone, more than 60% of the flights that are supposed to be going around the world, they've also been affected. So remember, EU banned outside travels for the next 30 days. US banned travel from European countries too, and this has massive effect. Remember,
on the
remember
economy
that
and on the jobs.
Yes, remember that the Chinese moves. The Chinese visitors move a lot to countries, for example, like the UK.
Yes.
Where 450,000 visitors were witnessed just in the last period up to September of last year. 415,000. Remember, the Chinese, statistically, they are also the people who spend more than 3 times than an ordinary and average visitor in the United Kingdom. So I think you can understand how this is affecting
the impact of coronavirus, Brother Basopo, on tourism.
Exactly.
Global tourism.
Let's look at industrial production itself, Brother Ngobi Stamlambo. 13.5% of the first 2 months of the Chinese economy, just January and February, was lost. And remember, China makes 1/3 of all the manufactured
global. Yes.
And that is a ravaging effect. Remember, these are Chinese, these are parts of very important industries, the parts and raw materials. So we are going to witness most likely a recession within the globe. That's why you see most countries coming in with interventionist policies that are meant are moving towards stimulating the economy. They are bringing what you call expansionary measures by attacking from the fiscal side. You have seen, for example, the Norwegian government putting more than 100 billion into resuscitating the economy, and that is expansionary. So you might see actually inflation beginning to rise in the not so future, and you know the effects that come up with it. So we hope and pray that those who are responsible for the global economy are going to be there to make sure that we are not led into another global depression or a recession of not.
Thank you, Brother Basopo. So, Brother Basopo, my brother, you're now on another level in terms of economic analysis. The level you're operating in, Brother Basopo, is beyond the natural. You're not in the terrestrial, Brother Basopo, when it comes to economic analysis. I like the way and manner in which you have shown the impact, the economic impact of this deadly pandemic on the performance of the world economy.
Thank you.
China constitutes 1/3 of the manufacturing sector of the global GDP. Is not a joke, brother Basopo. It shows that the Chinese claim a bigger share in terms of a world economic GDP and outlook. But Brother Basopo, you said the point that we have always debated, even when we were still a revolutionary students at the University of Zimbabwe. You and I, including Brother Ostalos, now General Secretary of the MDC Youth Assembly, used to argue, Brother Basopo, on the role of the state in the management of the economy. And you know that me being a sworn Marxist-Leninist, a socialist, I will never apologize for being a communist. I have always argued, and you comrades have always said, no, the state, we cannot have the state is bogus, the state can be too big, government intervention, the state is not efficient, parastatals are not efficient. But I've always given you the Chinese example of how state-owned enterprises even competed the Shanghai Stock Exchange and the London Stock Exchange, but the Chinese government control over 51%. I've always argued that you look at Japan, Brother Basopo, you look at Malaysia, when the Japanese decided to industrialize, they had a serious import substitution policy to an extent that they were not even importing matches and toothpicks as we are doing. They would manufacture everything, cars, clothes. But look at the Japanese economy. They had a 5149 investment policy like the one that Mugabe had. What coronavirus, Brother Basopo, has now brought to the fore of intellectual debate, to the fore of discussions in the corridors of universities, civic society, social media, mainstream media, is reimagining the role of the state.
Yes.
Capitalism, the market, Brother Basopo, we are all aware, and we are seeing it. It's quite apparent. It's visibly visible, even to the blind, like the many takeovers in Brother Basopo, that the market can reach an extent in terms of it providing goods and services that are essential for people to lead normal, sustainable lives. Human development indicators, Brother Majmaj.
Yes.
Look at this. In Australia right now, in China right now,
yes.
in the UK right now,
yes.
in America right now, they are all looking at the state. So JP Morgan is looking at the state. Big banks are looking at the state. So the role of the state has never been much needed, unlike now. In Italy, they are looking at the state. The IMF, Brother Basopo, one of the leading institute of defending the neoliberal orthodox, Brother Basopo, through the merchants of neoliberalism, the merchants and archbishops of neoliberalism. The IMF, I was reading a recent blog a day before yesterday. The IMF is saying that now is the time to have a new ideology that can run the world in terms of the economic affairs, because the market can reach a certain extent. They are arguing that since companies are asking for bailouts from the government, it then shows that naturally government should play a leading role, Brother Basobo, in the management of the economy. Sorry, brother, you
are blaming.
We have a task force in this country. They have provoked your intellectual rigor.
Yes.
Brother Basobo, we have a task force in this country to respond to this humanitarian crisis that is being brought by coronavirus. I want to comment a bit and advise the government that it is wise, it is very prudent at this juncture and wise, that the Interministerial Task Force on COVID-19 also encompasses the Ministry of Social Welfare. We have noted with great concern that the Ministry of Social Welfare is nowhere to be seen. I would also argue that Parliament, from whom the authority to govern Zimbabwe is derived from the people, Parliament is the sole representative authority left in this country, of course, with the executive. Parliament should reconvene. I don't understand why Parliament should go on a lockdown when globally, the world over, parliaments and senates are meeting on a daily basis to discuss. So we have a danger of the country being run through statutory instruments. It's a bad precedent. So, Brother Basobo, I will allow you to intervene. And once you are done intervening on the role of the state and where we should go, are we going to see a new world economic order after coronavirus? Are we going to see more state intervention in the management of the economy after coronavirus? Number two, Brother Basobo, are we going to see the emergence of China as the new leading economic giant after coronavirus, with effects that coronavirus is having on the US dollar as the safest currency to invest in? Right now, China, Pakistan, and I forget the third country, are talking of and Russia are talking of settling their debts in their local currencies, disembarking from using the dollar as a currency to settle debts. Are we going to witness a new international economic outlook? And as an economist, what would that economic system look like after coronavirus? Let's also comment, Brother Basobo, on the two comments by two bogus French doctors who argued yesterday that the coronavirus vaccines must be tested on Africans first before they are tested on Caucasians, on Asians, and those of other races. We want to state it categorically clear, Brother Basobo, that Africans are not guinea fowls. Africans are not pigs. Africans are not rats. You can't just experiment on Africans. And it's a call on African fascist leaders and dictators to make sure that we guard against the intrusion of pharmaceutical companies that want to destroy. Because coronavirus vaccines, if we are not careful, can be a tool that can be used to depopulate Africa. Brother Basobo, we need to be conscious as young people. So you can intervene, Brother Basobo. After that, Brother Basobo, we will then talk about the Supreme Court judgment and then conclude this live tete-a-tete.
Revolutionary greetings, revolutionary salutations to the people of Zimbabwe and the people of the world in general. Thank you very much. You are joining us today. Of course, we are having a live with Comrade Brother Ngobi Stamlambo. To those who are still joining us, we are looking into various issues. We are sharing and cross-pollinating ideas. We are dissecting and exposing the state of Zimbabwe, the state of affairs in Africa and the globe in general. I think, Brother Mlambo, let me proceed straight to the role of the state. What is the role of the state? What is the role of government? And you are saying, do you think after this coronavirus thing, we are going to see a new world order, a new global order? It must be known, Brother Ngobi Stamlambo, that the facts are res ipsa loquitur. They speak for themselves. The facts are on the ground for everyone to see. They're as clear as the nose on your face. I think you have seen, Brother Ngobi Stamlambo, that the world has been slowly moving towards globalization. You remember that the IMF, as you said, is an institution with other neoliberal institutions like the International Monetary Fund. They have spearheaded and assisted the coming in of what you call the Reaganomics, the economics Ronald Reagan in the United States, which of course was later rubber stamped and of course complemented by
Margaret Thatcher.
Like Margaret Thatcher in the United Kingdom. We have seen the world, these two countries actually being the giants in terms of advocating for the opening of borders and the opening up of the market across the globe. But as of recent, we've also begun to see these countries being the first to shut their borders. Remember, Trump came into the presidency of the United States in 2016 after adopting what you would like to call a narrow nationalism. Are we together, Brother Mlombo? Revolutionary, are we together, Brother Mlombo? Okay, seems like we've lost brother Mr. Mlambo. But what I would
just continue. We'll try to. I'll try to bring him back. Just continue. I'll try to bring him back. He needs.
Okay, thank you very much to our viewers. I'm saying that we have seen that the British and the United States, they have been the champions who were at the primary of championing neoliberal policies, but they have since deflected. We saw the Brexit recently in 2016. They voted for the United Kingdom to move out of the European Union. Recently also, you have seen them completely pulling out of the European Union early this year. So what this means is that these countries that have been championed, they saw that we need to reshape the politics of the globe. We need to reshape the economic interests, because these companies, these countries, remember, they are saying that they do not need to see, they want to actually have autonomy in terms of monitoring the number of the people who are visiting in their countries. So what this means is to say that the globalization is now at risk. What used to be the rhetoric in the past years of saying, no, let us open the globe, is actually beginning to shift, and countries, they are becoming more centralized. So most likely after this coronavirus, we are going to see countries becoming more state focused. Remember that economically they have what they call comparative advantage and the absolute advantage, where a state might have a better advantage in the production of a certain good or within a certain industry, and they leave other countries to produce much of the goods that these states they wouldn't be having an advantage on. So we would. Thank you very much, Comrade Brother Mr. Mlambo. You are back. I was saying that globalization is.
No, I was hearing you. You can continue. You can continue. I was
globalization is on risk. Yeah, exactly. So these countries who have a comparative advantage and absolute advantage, they are countries used to specialize more. Remember, let's say we are saying China is producing much of the products. It might be having an advantage in the production of things that are within
certain goods
in this industry, and the countries just leave that to the production of this country. But no one had ever imagined that at any point in time the globe might shut, and the countries that will be having much of the confidence in might actually be at risk of not continuously producing these products. So globalization, Comrade Mr. Mlambo, is most likely going to be a thing of the past as countries are beginning to run out.
Just to intervene. So we are agreeing that globalization is facing an existential threat, Brother Basopo. So rather now, as a Marxist or as a sociologist, we will begin to talk about globalization instead of globalization. So globalization is the localization of the global. So we embrace the fourth industrial revolution, for example. We embrace nanotechnology. We embrace 5D, 3D printing. We embrace the Internet of Things, Brother Basopo. So governments, intellectuals, advisors of governments, let's look into the phenomenon of globalization. Let's localize the global and contextualize the global. You can continue, Brother.
Thank you very much, Comrade Brother Mr. Mlambo. Like I was saying, the world economic order is going to change. Remember, actually, some analysts were saying that the world was beginning to overheat. Countries are now moving into consumerism. Countries now begin to produce goods which are not even unnecessary. There was overproduction. Just look at the projected economic growth of China, how they're expecting a 6% increase in economic growth. Right now, it has been put down because of coronavirus to, I think, to below 4%, around 3%. And what also means to say, because the world global economics were moving actually in a very smooth pace, the world was overheating, and there was so much debt. Actually, others argue that what is going to lead into a depression is because of the levels of debt that was experienced by the world. In the United States alone, the airlines industry has a debt of 34 billion, Brother Mr. Mlambo. But this 34 billion, how are they going to recover given that their total production, their total services has fallen 50% what is being demanded? So we might see a depression coming along those lines. Let me move straight into vaccines, starting from African countries. I think we saw these two French vagabond doctors who have since
those little skunks.
We don't believe in the politics of marginalization and undermining certain races. I think you know that in Italy is the most affected with 14,000 deaths as we speak right now. Africa, the whole of Africa, Brother Mr. Mlambo, is 7,987 cases, not deaths. The deaths are only 290. Africa is not a testing lab.
That's what is worrying the racists are worried that Africans are not dying.
Experimenting.
So we need to stand put and be very clear that any vaccine, in fact, this is high time, brother Basop, that our universities in Africa, that our scientists in Africa in the pharmaceutical sector begin to do. Government should also put funds into research so that at the end of the day, Africa develops its own vaccines and patents them and protects them, so that we are not only recipients of drugs that are manufactured in places where we are not aware of. So you can continue, brother Basop.
In conclusion, like I was just saying, experimenting with human life. Are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you, brother Basop.
Experimenting with human life is treasonous, and that must be stopped. So, in conclusion, also like the role of the state, we need states to be more clear to the people. Are you?
Yes, I'm there, brother Basop. It is you who is no longer available, comrades. Brother Basop, I think will join us shortly. I think the technology is now misbehaving. Maybe the imperialists who control Facebook are not in agreement with the Marxist views that we are expressing on the show. Anyway, comrades, we brother Basop and I we're now going to go into a section where we are going to discuss the significance or dissignificance or lack thereof of the Supreme Court judgment on the MDC led by Advocate Nelson Wamba Chamisa, who argue with brother Basop that this is the Constitution is brutal full man. It's moot, it's academic. It holds no political water. We agree that legally things were not done well by Morgan Tsvangirai, the late president of the MDC, in terms of the appointments that he made in the year of our Lord 2016. But as Judge Patel argued in his judgment of the Supreme Court, that it is of a material fact that Nelson Chamisa, by these votes recorded by Sadiq, by Zek, Nelson Chamisa is the biggest game in town. We can't dispute the fact that President Chamisa is the biggest. So, brother Basop, I was now talking about the Supreme Court judgment, arguing to the people of Zimbabwe who are watching on the show that is brutal full and it's moot, as Alex Magaisa and other sober-minded legal minds have argued. Munyana Zigbisai, the International Socialist Organization coordinator in Zimbabwe, has argued that this is just mere command justice. Judge Patel actually argued that events have overtaken what has happened in the realms of legalism. What we are now faced with, brother Basop, is political realism. That Nelson Chamisa commands over 2 million plus people who voted for him. That's what Chamisa commands. Khupe got 45,000 votes. Komichi, Douglas Mwonzora, who have fallen into the trap of political opportunism, have fallen into the trap of betrayal. But betrayal is not a new phenomenon in the politics of this country, and let alone the politics of this world. We are aware of historical skunks and marabouts like Archbishop Bishop Mwonzora, who betrayed the liberation struggle. We are aware of betrayers of the democratization struggle like the Gabriel Chaivas of this country. So we know that betrayal is part and parcel of the DNA of those who are not principled, value-laden, and value-driven in terms of defending the people's project against the intrusion of the enemy. Comrades, let us not be defocused by this court judgment. Let us be calm as President Chamisa is calm. The greatest task that we face at this material moment, brother Basopo, is to rescue this country from the shackles of a kleptocracy, a nepotistic regime, a nihilistic regime. That's the task ahead. And the task is currently being commandeered, and the ship is currently being steered by President Wamba. He is in total control. What we should be discussing is how are we going to develop Zimbabwe after COVID-19? How are we going to improve the economy? Apparently, brother Basopo, we have lost brother Basopo again. But we hope that we are going to have him again, and so that he gives his views. These are just my views. They do not represent any organization, but they are my views as a citizen. For Section 61 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe permits me to say whatever I like because I have freedom of expression and speech. Brother Basop, what are your thoughts on the Supreme Court judgment before we conclude this live tete and cross-pollinate in the section of comments with comrades?
Revolutionary greetings once again to the people of Zimbabwe, to those who are still joining us right now. My name is Comrade Treasure Basop and Ngobista Mlambo. We are taking a cross-pollination of ideas. We are taking analysis of what is happening within the globe, what is happening in the country, and what is probably the way forward. Like we see right now, the whole world is mourning. The whole world governments, they are coming up into opposition to find a solution in terms of what must be done in terms of rescuing the human being who is on the verge of extincting. we see President Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa with these comrades and fanatics and sycophants beginning to make court cases that are divisive into the country, that cause a lot of confusion and hatred amongst the people. Like what Brother Ngobi Tamlambo has been saying, that this case is a brutal female. It's a case which has been overtaken by events. It's a scrambled egg. You cannot unscramble it. When you ukabita zai re huku so rikasangana, you cannot undo that. That's something that you cannot go against. So
those
are
your
like
comments. We agree. We agree.
There was a president on the issue of Molisco versus Molisco and Masmutasa versus ZANU-PF and the issue of the renewal. So this is a precedent which has been set before, but it has been departed on without giving reasons. But what is left now for the people of Zimbabwe to go against this thing is nothing legal. Probably it's a political solution to deal with a political
realism.
And political realism. So what ZANU-PF wants to do now, it wants to establish a Leviathan state, a state which is defined by Thomas Hobbes in his book Leviathan as a solitary state which is poor, nasty, brutish, and short, by taking people who have a serious sense of megalomania and who suffer from megalothymus. People who have a sense of self-importance.
Sorry, Brother Basopo. Brother Basopo, they suffer from
megalomania and megalothymias.
They suffer from megalomania and megalomanitis.
And
yes, brother.
A foolish sense of overrating one's self-importance. The Supreme Court decision wants to make ZANU-PF the monopoly of political power in the country. And some of us, we believe that democracy works, as what Tendai Biti and his fellow comrades in their book Democracy Works have been espousing. We believe in democratic principles and values that were set in the constitution of the country, which was voted for by the people. I always quote that we need a multi-party democracy system, not a pseudo stooges who are bootlickers, naysayers, and people who are surrogates of a government which is led by a
Brother Basopo, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Brother Basopo, for your views. So we are now concluding this live video, Brother Basopo, in the interest of time.
What's the time now? Okay. Yes.
So your final parting shots, Brother Majimaji.
My final parting shots, Brother Ngobi Stamlambo, they are quite many, but I think let's just say that our people must take preventative measures to stop themselves from being inflicted by this bogus virus that we have seen threatening the people. Number two, we also need to see a government which is more responsive and responsible. Right now, we are busy going to the world looking for money, asking for money and financial assistance. But we are the same government which has police officers who are on the ground, who are burning food. Where have you seen on earth, in any country, even the richest countries? I was caught Norway is one of the richest countries in the world with a 1.2 trillion sovereign wealth fund. But they have serious measures to make sure that food is not thrown away, food is not wasted. But you see a poor Zimbabwe with the budget deficits, instructing
current account deficit.
Yes, instructing police officers to throw away food. That food must have been given to hospitals, to orphanages, to prisons, or at least to the police officers themselves, because they want that.
Wow.
Or at least not to burn it, because that causes a massive climate change. They must have at least put it in a compost so that it generates manure. Not this.
Thank you very much, Comrade Basopo, for sharing your views. Apparently, we have lost Comrade Basopo again, comrades. But I would like to thank you, Comrade Vuka, our technology expert, the tech guru, who has made sure that we have a Facebook Live with Brother Basopo at 30. Revolutionary salutations, Comrade Vuka, Zimbabwe. We thank you for your solidarity. This is practical solidarity. We salute the diaspora with the support that they are giving to us here in Zimbabwe through diaspora remittances. People are surviving through that. We salute the diaspora. We salute the men and women who are working in our hospitals. We salute the disciplined forces in the defense forces who are not beating up people. I think they are disciplined soldiers somewhere. They are disciplined police officers. They might be watching. They should remain disciplined, protect our people, encourage our people, and tell them to be calm for all will be well. So, Brother Basopo, we have come to the end of this show, and we're looking forward to more shows, Brother Basopo. It was good, my brother, after a long period of time, to finally have a tete-a-tete with you. The masses of our people were We're always on our case, arguing that comrades, you have betrayed. You are no longer doing shows. Why is it that so? But we want to assure them that we found a new way to interact and do videos, and we expect to do more in the not so distant future.
Before we disappear, before we even put my parting final shots, the Secretary General of the Youth Movement in the Movement for Democratic Change has been trying to reach out. If it were possible, can he be given just 1 minute by Vuka Zimbabwe? Can you send the link to Brother Ostalos and give him just 30 seconds? Give parting and final shots. We know those guys, they are boiling. They have so much to say. But to the people of Zimbabwe, to the people of the world, comrades, the struggle in the world is our struggle. Like what the Ghanaian.
Right, just may you please kindly allow me to say, if the SG is watching as we speak right now, you have got the old link that I've sent to you before. May you kindly use that very same old link, and I should be able to approve you straight away. In the next 2 minutes, we should be able to see you on screen. God bless you.
Thank you, Vuka. Thank you, Vuka Zimbabwe. Thank you. Our tech guru, he has facilitated to make sure that Brother Basopo and I can cross-pollinate ideas, comrades. Thank you very much for the comment in the comment section. Those who have joined us in Zimbabwe, those who have joined us in the diaspora, those who share this video with the link in there with their colleagues in WhatsApp groups. We remain indebted highly to the people of Zimbabwe for their genuine and steadfast support. We will never betray the struggle for a democratic, prosperous development of Zimbabwe, anchored on the values of solidarity, freedom, and equity. Brother Basopo, how are the studies in Norway as we wait for Comrade Ostalos to join us? Are you attending lectures online? Are you learning virtually so that Zimbabwean students who are watching can also take note?
Well, thank you very much, Brother Ngobi Stamlambo. We effectively were not banned, but barred from accessing every campus premises on the 12th of March, which is last month. But it is business as usual. We are continuously taking our exams. I was having an exam last week here online through Zoom. We are also having discussions everywhere because, like what the United Nations recently said in 2016, that internet is a basic human right. We recently saw the importance of having internet here because we can continuously undertake our business. Almost every government department is functioning online. Banks are closed, but you can work everything that you want online. So you also, at this moment in time, would urge the government of Zimbabwe and all the governments in Africa and the globe at large to make sure that we up our game in as fine as much as internet is concerned. Technologization, technology.
Technology. To borrow Professor Arthur Oliver Gusen Mutambara's lexicon. That technology. The Internet of Things, Brother Basopo. The fourth industrial revolution. We thank you, Brother Basopo, and we see that you are in good spirits, you are in good health. The Norwegians are taking good care of you. We know that's a Scandinavian country. It's a more or less a socialist, a pseudo-socialist country. So they value solidarity. I can see.
What are the comments of the people? What are the comments of the people?
I haven't read the comments as yet. I will read them once we are done because of
but
the application that we are using.
Maybe someone might want to respond. Wait for the
Maybe
SG.
You can log onto your computer. You can log onto your laptop on Facebook and check. I can't check now. But if there are comments, you can address them.
It went quiet. There it is. It went quiet. I cannot access my. It just. I don't know what we call it in scientific terms. But
it's a mess then, Brother Baso. So we will see. We will respond to them even after. There's no pressure. Vuka, is Comrade Ostalos now available before we conclude? Maybe they're still sorting out. Maybe they're still sorting out. So we maybe Brother
He's coming in. He's just coming in just now.
Yes. Salutations, Comrade Ostalos.
Comrade Ostalos, are we together?
I can see you.
Ostalos.
Right, I'm gonna give him another 2 minutes. You guys can continue and concluding in those 2 minutes, and I'll bring him back. I'll let him away.
It seems Comrade Ostalos is facing. He's a political scientist, so we expect such the technological know-how. But anyway, we are clear, Brother Basopo. I see that you are reading a lot of books in the background. I can see a lot of literature. It shows that leaders are readers. You can't have this level of intellectual depth that you possess, Brother Basopo, if you don't read books. So it's an encouragement to those who are watching. Let's continue to read in the midst of this lockdown. I myself, I'm trying to read following the Economic Freedom Fighters book club. So today we are on book number 4, trying to read The State and Revolution by Vladimir Lenin and see how we can propagate and execute the struggle for a socialist Africa. As Emmanuel Badu would argue, African socialism or a socialist Africa, we prefer African socialism. Africa will be free. Zimbabwe will be free from the jaws of kleptocracy, from the jaws of oppression, from the jaws of the competitive authoritarian regime. We will be free. It will take scientific organization. It will take struggle. For Karl Marx once argued that without a struggle, there can be no progress. And to struggle is man's reality. Brother Basopo, where is Comrade Dosalos?
Comrade Brother Ngobi Stamlamba, I think Comrade Dostalo is facing technical challenges, and it was our passion, our love,
to
and
have
of
him
course
on the show.
Our drive to have him on the show. But we are going to have a multiplicity, or a myriad, or of those shows. We're going to have so much of them.
Yes.
So if he
Yes,
fails to catch up with us on this time, we have him, the Secretary General of the Movement for Democratic Change Youth Assembly, and of course we would have wanted him. We'll bring more guests on the show in the next time. Thank you very much, Zimbabwe. The struggle continues unabated. Aluta continua dignidade comendado po aligamente eventualidade demoradas. Zimbabwe faradesa vinceremos moi.
Patria omuyete vinceremos aluta continua. Thank you, comrades. Thank you, comrades. Brother Basopo, enjoy your evening. I thank you, comrades.
To our
Vuka,
viewers,
thank
bye-bye.
you so much. Tualumba
Yes.
loko, asante sana.
Zikomo.
Zikomo kwambiri.